Are you ready to learn what red flags keep an eye out for when looking for love?
Then we got you covered. I'm Brianna.
And I'm Alex.
And this is the podcast where we unpack reality TV and call out the bullshit.
So that you show up confidently while dating and in relationships. Welcome to Ditch the Script. Oh my God.
I love it. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Guess what? I see you tomorrow.
I was going to say, we have 24 hours and then we will be in person, hanging out, IRL, blowing up Ditch the Script pod content on Instagram and maybe TikTok if I can figure it out.
Yes. Oh my God. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited.
I'm so
Vegas,
excited.
here we come.
Yeah, the things that I'm most excited for, putting on nice outfits, like getting dressed up,
Me
looking
too.
cute, looking
Fuck
hot.
yes.
Feeling the energy that one feels, or rather that I feel when I'm like, damn bitch, you're fine.
Yes,
Fine.
me too. I'm so excited to get cute. It's a whole vibe. Whole vibe.
Can we
Yes.
figure out how to do it
yeah.
together? Can we get ready together? We're going to be in separate
Yes,
rooms. Can we get ready?
please.
Yeah.
Let's.
I think your room will be nicer than mine.
Oh, okay. Then come on over, baby.
It's just an assumption.
Come on over, baby.
Come on over. Come on
Who
over.
is that? Christina Aguilera?
It's Christina, the one and only.
Yeah. Maybe I'll jam out to that as I drive out today.
Oh, just on repeat, the same song, the one song.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a really good idea. Let me know how that goes. That's pretty good.
I don't know how the words are coming back to me.
Actually, I think that's a
so
different
hard,
song. That's a
no,
Mariah
really?
Carey. Yeah, that was a Mariah Carey song.
You're so right. Totally flipped. That's Fantasy by Mariah Carey.
Yeah, exactly.
I screwed it up.
Listen,
Look, it's a medley.
it's a 90s pop remix. That's what it is.
I'm here for it.
Okay. Is there anything else that you're really excited about that we're going to be engaging in, things that we're going to do?
Obviously.
Okay.
My first tattoo.
Yeah. Your first 2 tattoos.
I'm going hard. It's
Hard.
like, I grew up in a place where it was like, don't get tattoos. Your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. And I'm like, watch me.
Yeah.
2.
Also, like,
Let's go.
Whatever.
I also think Jesus and the Holy Spirit would like my tattoos, by the way. Because
Yeah, Jesus might.
I'm really thinking through them. These aren't, irrational or what's impulsive decisions. And so respect. And they would.
Yeah, they would. You know what? Jesus loves all of his children.
Yes, he does. Isn't that what it's all about?
Yeah, it's truly what it's all about. It's literally like, I don't mean to boil down like big major religious groups into, or religious ideologies.
We're not
into,
trying to do that.
No, we're not doing that. But what I will say is that what Jesus did say, coming from a Jew, what Jesus did say is, I love all my children, love yours. Love yours,
Yes.
Love your community, give to your community, love your people. So why the fuck is that so hard to do?
Oh, riddle me that one, Batman.
I don't know.
Tell me.
It's not
Generational
hard for me to
trauma.
do, I'll be honest. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So,
Oh my God,
anyway,
I like all the jokes we have today, but also low-key, for real, on point.
yeah, absolutely. So you're getting your first tattoo and your second tattoo immediately after.
And my second tattoo immediately.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that's right. That's what's happening.
and-
It's going to be a good time.
I think it's going to be great.
Yeah.
If there's anyone that is like, okay, first of all, I'm going to back up. Alex found this tattoo artist.
Back it up.
She's backing it up. Alex found this tattoo artist and she was like, I found this person immediately on a search and I didn't know what to expect because there's tons of tattoo artists everywhere. And sometimes it's hard to find someone that you actually find is like trustworthy and that everything that they do is going to come out good, because there are far more bad tattoos and novice tattoo artists than there are good tattoos and good tattoo artists. So sometimes it can be hard to find one and find one that you can afford and find one that doesn't book out like a year in advance because they're busy tattooing Rihanna and her, baby father. So,
and all her backup dancers.
yeah, exactly. Like we have to consider these things. So you found this girl. She goes by like the Blondies tattoo, and she
Laura
is amazing.
Yeah, she's got some skills. Oh my God.
Very good. Everything that she does. And I like that she's able to do like single line work. Not a lot of tattoo artists do single line tattoos because they're very thin. They're very fair. If you fuck up, it's really easy to see. And also sometimes people are worried that they're going to fade quickly. And like, she's like, I can do this. I can do bold shit. I can do your grandfather's handwriting on a note. Yeah. She's awesome.
She is super dope. And, I don't know if you saw her dragon. That looks dope. Like the amount of detail and shading in her dragon. And so I was looking at it the other day and I was like, maybe someday I'll get a dragon. I'm going to have to go back out to her and get her to do it though. But like, man. And then Jordan was like, you'd be the girl with the dragon tattoo. And I was like, I haven't read the book or seen the movie, so I don't know the symbolism of that. But yes, I would be a girl with a dragon tattoo.
It's okay. One of a number of us. I don't have one.
One of a number. Yeah. But she's just really talented. And it's like, I'm excited for it. So it'll be a good time.
It's nice to fall back on. At least this is what it's been like for me because, well, this won't be my first tattoo. It will be a number that I've stopped counting to. So I'm not really sure. But it will be that next tattoo and my own like concerns of like, do I want this sort of big deal and putting it in a different place, doing a different thing? Like the newness is a little scary and it can be because it is permanent. It's a tattoo. It's like call a spade a spade. But the fact that she's so good, it makes it so much easier to like rely on to be like, okay, you know what?
Totally.
At the end of the day, even if I have like a stupid idea, she's going to make it look cool.
So true. So true. It's like Jesus take the wheel, except Laura's taking the wheel. Take the tattoo wheel.
Take the wheel. Take the needle.
Yeah, and I'm so take the needle. I'm so excited about the one that we're getting. Should we talk about it, or should we just like stay tuned and look at our gram?
We can stay tuned on our others, our separates.
Okay, cool. Stay tuned on our separate Instagrams.
I mean the additional tattoo. So Alex and I are getting a matching tattoo.
Yes.
But we are also getting additional other tattoos that will have nothing to do with each other. Yeah.
Other than the fact that we're there holding hands while it's happening.
Together, sharing blood.
Yes.
Don't do that. That's unsafe.
What?
Sharing
bleeding?
Blood.
Oh yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that. Okay, yes. So we're getting matching tattoos. You want to tell them what it is and why?
Yeah, let's talk about the symbolism. Okay,
yeah.
So obviously, if you have been listening to our show for a while, from the get-go, you heard how we met, which was through dance class. And, dancers, especially in like a strict ballet upbringing, instead of saying good luck or break a leg, we say merde, which is French for shit. Mm-hmm. And it's actually a really funny story about how that came to America. And if you want to know the story behind it, then hit me up on Instagram and I'll tell you. But that's what we're getting because we grew up saying merde to each other before all of our shows. And so why the heck not? Yeah,
the way that I've been explaining it to people who are like, wait, hold up, you're tattooing poopy related things on your body? Yes, confidently, yes. The way that I've been explaining it is it's the equivalent of telling someone to break a leg, right?
Right.
So Americans, before you go on stage, you're like, break a leg, break a leg, break a leg. Obviously, breaking a leg is a negative wish to wish upon someone. But it's sort of in its backward nature, supposed to like relieve some of the pressure of perfection, perfection, perfection. This needs to be perfect. So merit is the same thing. It's like shit.
Yeah.
You're going to do shit.
Yeah.
You're basically telling each other, you're going to do shit. You're going to do shit. You're going to do shit. And while I don't think that I would recommend that in like my clinical support as a professional today, I think that there was something very like, it just takes the pressure off a little bit. allows some lightheartedness before a very tense moment.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So, and it's really funny because I know, Brie, I was telling you about this memory, but I have to share it with the audience. When Brie and I first met, our first summer together, we're like 11 and 12 years old. And your mom was trying to get in the know about this lingo.
Yeah.
And so she was running around saying, Meredy, Meredy. And you were like, Mother, it's Merd.
It's Merd. Not Meredy.
And so now it's just like, it's so on point, and it's such a part of our lives and how we met. And it's also just great because anytime I see it, I'm basically wishing myself good luck, break a leg.
Yeah.
And also the other dual meaning for me is shit happens. So it's like, I'm excited about it. It's gonna be a good time.
I'm excited that it connects us for life. That's kind of cool.
Word. Well, not like we'd need a tattoo to do that.
No, not at all.
You're stuck with me.
It's symbolic of our union.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're getting married.
I was just going to say that. It's essentially our marriage contract.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, me too.
I love it. I can't wait to see you.
Yeah, me too. Oh, it's going to be great. I have a lot of travel ahead of me. It's going to be amazing. Okay.
I'm really appreciative of you hopping on all the planes.
Are you kidding? I'm really excited. I'm having
it's going to be a good time.
Great time. And listen, I'm not working today, so I'm already on vacation. I'm having a great time.
Cheers.
Cheers to that. Okay. Let's talk about MAFS.
Yeah, let's do it.
If you're new to this segment, MAFS is Married at First Sight. We're on season 14. This is episode 8. Ooh, that's my lucky number.
Ocho. Ooh. Ooh.
Something
that's
about
exciting.
That. Okay, so we are down to 4 couples. We are now 3 weeks into their marriage. They have 5.5 weeks left of their marriage before the powers that be, the MAFS powers that be, come to them and they say, basically, do you want to stay together and we are releasing you from the show? Or do you want to get a divorce? We will annul your marriage immediately. We will do that for you and you're welcome.
At no extra cost.
Yeah, which is like...
Thanks for signing up for the torture.
Yeah, right, literally. And so we've just sort of been seeing more of these couples sort of really dig further into the challenges that they're facing as they are dually. They're married, so they have this like heavy ass commitment, but they're also brand new to each other's lives. So that's sort of where we're caught up.
And it's getting real interesting.
Yeah. What is something that you that stood out to you about this episode? Because when we got on, you were like, "Phew, this one was a doozy."
I feel like there's some. Do I want to use this word? I feel like there is some low key abusive things happening in one relationship. That, if not monitored, could spiral into something worse. It's just hard to watch. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to watch, especially even with my clients, like, doing the work that we do, where it's like, especially, and, one gal who lives in Kuwait going through something really similar, and it's like, I want to freaking get on a plane and go over there and like kick these guys' asses, because it's just like, you don't treat people like that. And so that's what I mean is like, just watching some of the stuff that came up last night, it's like I want to scream through the televerse and be like, don't treat people like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the reason I don't like to throw that word around, but I also feel that not calling things what they are only enables it. And so, yeah. And so we need to take these things seriously. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's that.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'd agree. I'm curious to hear where that felt most present, because I have an idea.
Yeah.
But we'll see if we're sort of on the same page about that. Okay.
Okie doke.
Let's get into Stephen Noy.
Stephen Noy.
So where we left off with Stephen Noy was they had like a pretty big blowout fight. Noy had left. She came back. They had a chat about the fact that Steve was like, I didn't know what was upsetting you. I If you need space, like that's okay. Just ask for it so that I know what's going on. Yeah, communicate it. And it's interesting that they never addressed actually what his comment was. And it's like, and it being pretentious and condescending.
Or at least from what we saw, they didn't address it. But I completely agree. It's like, I really wish we kind of just saw everything.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it makes our job of analyzing more challenging, because it's like, what do we comment on? How do we make sure that this book or chapter of this argument's been closed? You know what I mean? And
how dare they not think about us as they produce a show?
Come on, guys. God.
We have a job to do.
We're trying to do a service to this world.
Yeah, excuse me. We have a podcast. So if you could make sure that we have all of the details so we can accurately assess what's going on, that would be really helpful for our community.
Yeah. So just to recap, the comment was, but you can still check them, right? Is what Steve said. That is pretentious and condescending.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and I don't think he meant it to come across that way. I think he was just trying to say, like, if you're going to cook my noodles. But that's why it's like, I wonder if that was even clearly communicated from the get-go. Because he said he put the pot of water on the stove. So in my brain, I'm wondering if Noi saw him do that and thought, oh, he's going to make his noodles and I'll make mine.
Oh my God, yes.
So it's like, come on, people.
That's exactly what happened.
And then they had this knockdown, drag out fight over nudes, man. Like, nudes. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
So nudes as in NOODS, not nudie pics. Let's be clear here.
Yeah, noodles.
Noodles.
Yeah, that was really interesting that they didn't touch on that. But again, like you said, maybe we didn't get to see it.
I'm gonna cross my fingers.
I think what we get to learn from this, their comeback, which is, Noi is sort of touched about how much this actually did bother Steve, which to her sort of confirmed this, like, oh, he actually really does care about me. And so she does a scavenger hunt for him. And I wonder how much help.
Cute.
Yeah, it was so cute. I wonder how much help she had from the producers to do it. But I'm choosing to not be a cynic and just believe that, like, that was all her and all of her idea and all of her execution. It was so adorable. I loved it so much.
It was. I cried. It was so cute. I felt that her expressing her love and appreciation for him, and also kind of alluding to some of the good memories they've had so far, was like really sweet and touching. So it was adorable.
Yeah, it was cute. Yeah. So something else that shows up in Steve and Noi's relationship, as well as all of the other couples, is that they're given these like question cards, which I thought these questions were going to have a lot more questions, but all of the couples only answered one question. I was sort of confused about that. Anyway, they give them these like questions and they like set them up for basically like a cocktail moment where everyone has like a little drink. And they're talking about their experiences with love. Have you been in love before? Yeah. How many times? How do you know that you love someone? And that's pretty much everything that everyone answered. So Steve and Noi, Noi mentions that she's been in love once. Steve says that he's had 5 serious girlfriends and he's loved all of them. And she was like, interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It doesn't bother me for some reason, I guess, because I feel love is so different from relationship to relationship. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, I think when Steve says that, it doesn't necessarily mean that one is better than the other, or that he might be like subconsciously pining after an ex. Like, I don't think it means that at all. I truly just feel like when he's invested in someone, he's invested in someone. Yeah. Whereas Noyce, she's been in love once. We didn't really hear much about that experience. But then this conversation causes her to get in her head a bit, because she's like, wait a second.
Yeah.
If he's been in love with all these other people, why isn't he in love with me yet?
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest at that point, because seeing her get in her head, I'm like, it's been 17 days, girl. Like,
yeah, relax.
Did you drop the L bomb with everyone else 17 days in? Like, give him some time, you know?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he won't get there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's an interesting takeaway here, building off of what you've said, which is like, everyone's experience with love is different. And we have to keep in mind that the way that people allow themselves to feel love, to feel loved by someone, has a lot to do with what they've been through in the past and whatever guards they may have up. So if I'm someone who I have felt burned by past relationships, when I move forward in my dating adventures, it might be really hard for me to get to a place where I feel safe enough to express that I love someone. Maybe it's something that I know, you know, there's a whole process there. So we have to like give some room to say, just because your experience has been, I've only loved one person, that was a really big deal. When you hear someone else say, I've been in love 5 times, to not immediately discredit them as like, well, what's wrong with this picture for various reasons.
Yep. Completely agree.
Yeah.
And then do we want to take it to the rest of the episode with this couple?
Yeah.
So then we have some girl and guy time, and then Steve ends up taking Noi on a cute little picnic on, I want to say the beach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in South.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so they were kind of reminiscing about their favorite memories they've had together so far. And then in the end, he finally drops the L-bomb and says, I'm at a place where I'm comfortable to tell you that I love you. Yeah. And it was so cute.
Noi's reaction was so
happy.
Cute. She was so cute. Yeah. She was like, really?
Yeah.
It was cute.
I know. I'm so happy for them. So
me too.
Good job, you guys. And make sure that you keep communicating.
Yeah. I appreciated that Noi had a bit of an awareness shift between the big fight that they had and towards the end of the episode, which is probably like a couple of days, where she sort of recognized that there's 2 people here and that she, you know, it behooves her to sort of like be more communicative about where she's at, what's upsetting her, what she needs, what she's worried about, because as she mentioned, she's really used to being alone. And I get that. I relate to that. Like you sort of, especially after only knowing someone for like 3 weeks, it takes a while to sort of shake the habits and routines of only being responsible for taking care of yourself. And I mean, emotionally as well, like checking in with your own emotions instead of feeling like, and there's other people who may want a window to what I'm experiencing.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So moving on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay. Katina and Olajuwon.
Yeah, this is an interesting situation because the big theme here with them is that Olajuwon has very serious expectations about what he wants in a wife and a partner. And he's already frustrated with Katina about not cooking as much as he was hoping. He's already frustrated with her that she's not helping him clean when he asks for it. And so and then we also sort of learn in there, like, what does love mean to you? What does being in love mean to you? Conversation where he clearly defines his experience of love means devotion. So 2 people coming through and doing the things that each other needs. So I want us to keep a very big eye on the fact that that is what his understanding and definition of love is, because it really sort of explains the rest of his behavior.
Yeah. This was interesting. It was so weird to me to watch because there were moments where I was like, okay, this is good. This is a step in the right direction with both of them. And then there were moments where I just, like I said, I wanted to scream through the TV and be like, you need to stop. Like, just stop talking. Yeah. Because, you know, Katina, from what we've seen of her, she's constantly like, I'm going to do more. I'm going to do more. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to cook for you.
And she has.
Yeah. And so, you know, she finally, you know, they kind of get to this point where they're having this conversation of like, well, what does a wife mean to you? So he asks her that, and she's like, you know, it's a partner. I'm someone's support system. And, you know, he basically alludes to this argument they had about the cleaning the floor thing. Which I'm like, there's so many different ways to compromise in that situation that, like, it doesn't need to be your way or the highway.
Yeah.
And then he starts to kind of get condescending and attacking when he's like, you're my wife. I'm not your boyfriend. I have a ring on my finger. And it's like, okay, she knows that.
Yeah.
And he says that to her a lot. And so then when they go on this chef's date, which I thought was like smart, you know, like, let's learn how to cook together. Let's do this together. Yeah. Like, okay, yeah, that's a great way to like get involved. And also just learn because it's a skill that's new for both of them.
Right.
It gets really nasty. It gets so nasty when they sit down to actually partake in the food that they just made together. So it was just like I felt like having the conversation around how do you define a wife was like, that's helpful. Like, what are your expectations, right? It's basically asking the same thing. But yeah. what I want everyone to understand is our expectations, our ideals are not always realistic, especially with the person who may be in front of us. And it's not healthy for anyone to demand that their partner becomes who they aspire them to be. That's straight up control. Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts on some of the stuff that came up?
Yeah,
I could have a field day.
I think I want to build off of your point. Like, it's okay if two people come into a relationship and have different expectations for what they hope this relationship to look like. I can tell you that right. As a single person, when I imagine my next healthy relationship, I have an idea of what I hope that looks like. I am allowed to have that hope.
Right.
But I am also like at risk of sharing that hope and my lived experience looking very different than what it looks like. Hopefully it's still healthy. Hopefully it still honors some of my values, but it may look different than the picture that I have. So it is right. It is my right to have those expectations, and it is my right to communicate that with my partner. And I find it really challenging to understand why couples have such a hard time doing this. Maybe because it can be such an emotionally charged point of contention. But like when we're exchanging what are our expectations, why isn't that an amazing opportunity to just be like learning more about what your partner is looking for and what they want, and vice versa, and then being able to sort of like challenge that and
meet
be like,
yep,
let's meet in the middle. Like, okay, so I know that it's important for you to have someone that cooks for you every day and not have someone that like unrelentlessly basically does what you say all the time. But the reality is that I'm not going to respond super well to that. That doesn't mean that I'm not interested in like showing up, but you can't expect me to bat 1,000 every single day.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And so that's what was hard for me to kind of watch was like, you know, he kept hitting it home. Like, I don't know if you're enough woman for me because like you don't have basic life skills like cleaning and cooking and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, her value isn't defined by what she does for you. Like, literally. That's what's icky to me. That's what's icky to me is like, we shouldn't be in a relationship for what our partner can do for us, because that puts so much pressure on them constantly, right? If you're relying on your partner to be the one to make you happy, if you're relying on your partner to be the one that meets every single one of your needs, like, that's not sustainable. And I want to be clear here, because I've gotten this question quite a few times on TikTok. If we're not supposed to have our partner meet our needs, then what's the point of a partnership? The point of a partnership is for companionship, is for being able to have and live life together, but not to demand that you need to make me feel validated. You need to make me feel loved. You need to make me feel secure in myself. You need to make me feel like I'm a good person. That is not okay.
Right.
Those are two very different things. So what I like, the analogy or the picture I like to paint is like, your partner is the icing on the cake, not the cake itself. Like,
right.
You are the cake. You meet your needs. You fill your cup up. And yes, your partner is there to, of course, love on you in the ways that you would prefer to be loved on. But if they're having a bad day, you got to let them have a bad day.
Yeah.
Right? They're human.
Right.
They have their own capacity and threshold too. So it really does come down to like communicating and letting some stuff go, letting some of the ideals that you had for your relationship go to a degree. And let me be clear on this too. That is sustainable for both of you.
Yeah.
Because completely denying yourself isn't okay either.
Yeah.
So you got to find the middle ground there.
Yeah. Breathe in the new information that you're getting from your partner that is likely conflicting with what you were hoping for. Breathe it in, give yourself time. We talk about emotional regulation a lot. Give yourself time to emotionally regulate and try and like go back to this information and be like, what does my life look like if this relationship were to bend and compromise in the way that me and my partner are finding that we are on opposite ends of the spectrum of this debate or this skill or this practice or this ritual or this schedule, whatever it is, these finances, like if we were to meet in the middle, what would that look like? And is that something that I'd be okay with? But if you don't give yourself that time, then you are just gunning for your own set of expectations until you run out of breath, and you will find yourself not being able to actually make a relationship work with anyone unless they are so submissive that all of their needs and wants and desires are just lost and second to yours.
Don't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
And you get to decide if that's something you're okay with.
And it's exhausting. You know, it's interesting. I know we alluded to this on last week's episode. When we were talking about love bombing, that was last week, right?
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks ago. Whenever we were talking about love bombing, that one. And I was alluding to a client of mine who sent me some bubble messages, and that guy is that. He is a submissive dude. He said that in his thing. He's like, I'm looking for a partner who wants me to prove my devotion every day. And so Olajuwon would be a great match for that guy, you know?
Yeah.
So it just makes me laugh because it's like, yeah, it's like, look, it's not that those types of people don't exist. It's just that you're looking for a very specific type of partner. And even Pastor Cal, when he came to visit O and Katina, he told Katina and O, like, you never said that this was a deal breaker for you. And so that's on Olajuwon's fault, not Katina's.
You had all this time.
He wasn't clear.
Yeah, you had all of this time with the experts while they were gathering information to be able to identify a partner that would have suited you. Had they had that information, they would have found someone that was like already like a master chef in the kitchen. For real. And they would have like I'm, you know what? I'm not mad that Olajuwon has this conflict in front of him, because I think that he needs this. I think that he needs to recognize that you don't get everything that you want and then some. Like, you get good qualities in a person that you are looking for, and some things aren't perfect. You figure out how to make it work. But if you're like, the thing that I have a big issue with is you cannot be the only person expecting your partner to change. and your partner's not allowed to
Yes.
ask you to change at all, you don't get to like breathe and relax into this. Maybe you're not cooking for me every day, but your partner needs to figure out how to grocery shop for you, figure out how to cook, show up for you every single fucking day, go from
clean,
doing all of these things when you're not giving them any room to like develop those skills. But you don't have to change at all, right?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. And that's my issue. And then he said something that I was like, ooh, he said, I have to make sure I keep you grounded. He said that to her. And girl, it makes me nauseous right now. Yeah. It's like, no, bro, you need to get your feet back on the ground.
I would have
like,
punched that man in the face.
Bro, me too. Let's go. You're familiar with Boston. Let's go find them. It's not okay. It's so not okay. That's what I put in my notes. So not okay.
Yeah.
Because this is a dictatorship. This is not a partnership. And I'm just really disappointed in the way he talks to her. It's sickening.
I'm not surprised.
So sickening.
I'm not surprised though, because he's never been in a relationship, and that's not shade to people who haven't been in a relationship. I just know that when that is a new experience to be in, and you have the opinions, these hard locked opinions that O has, then it makes it really challenging for you to learn that like you need to bend, and that bending is going to aid to the success of your partnership. That's why I blame it on that. But what I will say is that there's something that Katina does sort of in the middle of the episode when they're talking about devotion. And we're talking about Olajuwon's preferences and what he's looking for in a relationship. And Katina does something that I think is like it's very green flag worthy, despite the fact that she is working very hard to continue to meet O's standards without having any of her own standards met. So asterisk on that. But I do think that something that she does is beneficial in other healthier, more reciprocal relationships. So I want to highlight this behavior. So when she is learning about O's preferences in like, what does a wife mean to him? And what does it mean to like be in love? He's like devotion. People, you need to meet expectations for the other person, for your partner. That's how you show that you're showing up. And Katina says, I know, I can tell that what you're looking for is X, Y, Z. Someone who shows up every day, someone who does what they say that they're going to do, someone who's cleaning, someone who's cooking. The way in which she calmly speaks to, she lets Olajuwon know, she lets her partner know that she fully understands what it is that he is looking for. I cannot tell you what an amazing skill that is. Like when we're in conflict, and if you feel like you're not being heard, or your partner is not hearing you, or vice versa, whatever, like a really important step is to let your partner know what you understand about what it is that their needs are, because that's how you get from we're on opposite ends of this fight to back on the same team.
Exactly. It's so funny in my communication skills class, obviously we're just talking about that, like active listening and like paraphrasing, like, okay, so what I'm hearing is this, right? Like make sure I got you. Yeah. And I saw the same thing as you, and I was so proud of her. I was also angry just because it's like after she said that, I was like, okay, oh, your turn. What are you working on? You know? Return that. But yeah, Katina's like, she has a heart, man. She is in this for the right reasons. She is willing to be, again, open to influence by her partner, and like is happy to work on the things that are her weaknesses, which, by the way, are only weaknesses to the partner she's currently with. Like, there are other people she could be matched with who would not give a damn about, you know, her not being a Stepford wife in the category of cooking and cleaning, you know?
Totally, dude.
So it's hard because it's like, you know, yes, I completely agree. Paraphrase, reiterate, make sure you both are on the same page about what needs to change moving forward. You know, and it's just at the same time, we need to know what our own capacity, is capacity the right word? What our own willingness of growth is, right? Because it's like, relationships are going to require you to grow. Healthy relationships are going to require you to grow, no matter who you're with.
Yeah.
The difference is how much growth are you willing to do to make the other person or that relationship work?
Yeah.
And that's different for everyone, you know? So I just think that's something to kind of keep in mind if you're in a relationship or if you're dating. Like, yes, be open to influence. Yes, be open to growing and evolving to become a better version of you. But that doesn't mean that you need to allow someone to demand you change in a way that you aren't comfortable changing in.
Exactly.
Oh, God. I wish you all the best. Honestly, at this point, at the end of this episode, I was like, really, Katina and Michael would make a great match.
Oh.
Because they're both so eager to understand their partner that those two together would be, because they both, like I said, Katina's doing it for O, Michael's doing it for Jasmina. So that's interesting to me.
It's a very interesting idea of switching partners around. What do you think would happen if we were to put Lindsay in? You already know what I'm going to say.
No, Lindsay and who?
Olajuwon.
Chris?
Olajuwon.
Oh, Jesus. World War IV, because 3 is currently going on.
But it's interesting because the things that a Lindsay expresses that she really wants in a man, like sort of Olajuwon sort of embodies, right?
Yeah, but she would not tolerate him demanding, like, you need to cook, you need to clean. Like, even with Mark, she was like, thanks so much for making dinner. Yeah. You know, so it's like, oh, wouldn't, no. To him, he has a very specific partner in mind, and he needs to go find someone who will check those boxes for him.
I just wish he told the experts that when he had the chance.
Seriously, it's like, dude, this is your opportunity to be picky as fuck, bro. That's the show. You show up and they give you a list. It's like going to the mall for wifey. It's like, I'm gonna go in the Gucci store now and like see what Gucci has for wives. You know, it's like, come on. Yeah. You had the opportunity. And I think I'm just trying to figure out what that's about. Like, if he knows that some of the stuff he's demanding isn't okay. Because remember, with Pastor Cal, he tried to say that. He's like, okay, maybe in the 40s or 50s you could get away with that, but now you can't, dude. And so it's interesting.
I
because
see what you're saying.
Yeah, sorry if I wasn't explaining it well. I'm glad you got there for anyone else.
I see what you're saying. Like maybe he figured if that was something that was sort of taboo to like request, like, I want my wife to cook and clean for me every day. If he was like shy about that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But then when push comes to shove, after she got the ring on your finger, now you're going to demand all that. And that's not okay. That's so not okay.
Misogyny.
So,
hidden misogyny.
Yeah. Be upfront with what you want. Yeah. It's kind of weird because it is hidden, but it's not. It's like he tries to hide it.
Blast. It's on full blast. But then he's like, no, of course I don't want to come off that way. Well, dude, you are quickly finding
coming off that way.
Yeah, you're quickly finding your photo in the dictionary Google search definition of misogyny. So congratulations.
Come on, O, you can do better, bud.
I want him to. Someone else needs to intervene and let him know, like, smack him upside the head with like a life lesson.
I know.
Because I think that we've mentioned, like, he is receptive to hearing and he's receptive to like taking a step back and be like, okay, wrong. But hasn't.
Then your actions need to follow through with that accountability. That's the issue that we're seeing. You're right. We know O can hear. We know O can simmer down and be like, okay, you're right. But then he doesn't follow suit with his actions. And that's what's really like tripping me out. And it's not helpful because also in this dynamic with them two, Katina admits she was in a verbally abusive relationship. And she has, because of that, trained herself to not cry, because in this relationship she's alluding to, anytime she cried, her partner said, oh, you're weak. And so she just like, bottles up. And I'm proud of O for being like, look, crying's a human emotion. You're allowed to do that. Like, good job. Gold star right there.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, do you not hear how again, hard and demanding and controlling your being with your wife.
Right. And maybe that,
Like,
well, he has no awareness of that. He thinks that he's being totally fair. So that's why he doesn't see that.
yeah.
And while he has compassion, as he should, for Katina, who's expressing that she's gone through an emotionally abusive situation with a relationship in the past, you would think that having that knowledge, you would want to be more aware of how you may be coming off. Trauma-informed approach. We need a
Yeah, I have a whole segment in my new course called Trauma-Informed Dating Approach. Like,
Dude,
seriously.
That is what we
thing.
need. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we need to be like so apologetic. Like, is this okay? Is this okay? Is this okay? No, just like check yourself about how you are, what your energy is like. But that takes awareness. And awareness is a skill that people can develop, but it is something you actually need to be working on. Please go get a therapist. Everyone.
Yes. Do the inner work.
Please.
The one last thing I'll say about, that really rubbed me the wrong way. I even put the angry emoji that has the filter in front of its mouth.
Babe.
You know, because she's like, okay, I hear you. Like, these are the things that I'm going to work on. I feel like what would help you, because this was in their champagne talk when they're talking about, like, what do you need to fall in love? And she's like, I feel like what would help you would be if I was more vulnerable. And of course, the cooking and the cleaning thing and blah, blah, blah. Like, very, like you said, paraphrasing what she needs to work on.
Yeah.
And he goes, I have to see it to believe it. I've seen women say stuff and not take a step in that direction. And she goes, I hear you. And that really bothered me, that he was like, I need to see it to believe it. Because it's like, it's not just women, so please don't gender bash. People do that. Just like you, bro, by the way, check yourself. You've said that you'll be more of a team player. You've said that you'll talk with her, not at her. And,
yeah.
Okay. So, and then he keeps talking about consistency and all that. And it's like, dude, again, check yourself. So, the reason I just wanted to hit on that is because, again, these comments can be so sneaky. They can be so sneaky. And so you just really got to hear what someone is saying. And it's like, that just, especially the gender. It's not all women.
Yeah.
It's not all women.
No, it's clearly like, it's clearly experiences that he's had in the past. But there's a different way to own that and to be like, listen, like if he, like, I don't want to come for him for the fact that he has clearly been burned by people. He's basically saying talk is cheap. And so that tells me that he's experienced the talk is cheap in his relationships. But there's a different way to own that with your partner who's working very hard to clarify that they have an understanding of what you're looking for, which if it were me, I would have been discrediting that dude I would have been telling him to go fuck himself. But she's not even doing that. She's really trying to like let him know that she understands that she's trying to work on it. And so
she hears him.
Yeah, she hears him. And so he could have easily instead, maybe not easily for him, but he could have instead said, listen, I appreciate you saying that. For me, because I've been through situations in which people did a lot of talking and not a lot of doing, it's going to take me a little while for me to like get on board and see that that's happening. But I hear you and thank you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was going to say is like hearing your partner say like, okay, let me get this clear. Like, this is what I think you need from me. That is, like you said, a skill. That's a beautiful thing. So please be appreciative of that. And that's what bothered me is like, I mean, on top of the gender bashing, but like there was no appreciation. There was no like, thank you. I can tell you're listening to me. So many people don't even have that skill set in a relationship. So it's like, please validate her. Please appreciate her. Because that poor girl is struggling to try and just make you happy.
Totally.
So, yeah.
We got to move on from them, but to be continued.
TBD or C.
Yes.
Okay. Jasmina and Michael.
Yeah. So this is interesting. This is interesting because they continue to run into the same issues. What I've noticed about Jasmina and Michael is that in an effort to avoid getting stuck in the same circular loops of their like miscommunication, they avoid talking.
Yep.
They'll do like very surface level, like, you know, how's your day? Good. How's yours? Fine. Blah. Stuff that makes me want to throw up. Then we sort of get to experience Mike actually like being like, what is the best way for me to communicate with you? And Jasmina sort of like gets into that. But then they get into a little bit of a tiff. Even in that, they're still in the same place. She has a very different understanding of what talking means. She's like, just talk to me. Just talk to me. Like, we can just have a conversation. And there have been people in my life that have done this. And I find this to be its own it's an unassuming way of gaslighting. Just talk to me. You're not talking to me. And it's like, I am trying to have a conversation. I'm here. I'm here. You are bringing me here. And then she's like, well, then because you're here, I'm also coming here. And it's just like, my God, if he's not elevated and he is just talking to you, yes, he might be getting passionate. Yes, he might like start to feel nervous. It's still a conversation.
Yeah, he's not yelling.
No. And I appreciated his point where he was like, listen, we must have two different versions of a conversation and talking because I'm over here saying I'm in a conversation and you're saying I'm not. But the fact is, he goes, you have to consider that we come from different places, different families, different environments.
Preach,
with different types
Michael.
Different types of communication styles. And so like that we're going to come at it from a different place. But if you shoot me down every time I'm trying to have a conversation, he didn't say this, but what I notice is if you're going to shoot me down every time I'm trying to have a conversation, we're going to end up never having conversations.
Yeah, and he did kind of say that because he was like, I'm asking you how you define that so I can understand it. And she couldn't give that to him because she was just like, it's just talking. It's just it's basic knowledge. You should know how to have a conversation.
Condescending.
And that really bothered me.
Me too.
Really bothered me because it's like, you're not helping him again. And I also taught this in my communication skills class this week. Guys, your partner growing up in another household is the equivalent to your partner growing up in another country, in my opinion, because humor is used differently. Punishments or any kind of, what's the word?
Like
consequences.
Rewards.
Right,
yeah.
right. Praise, reward, all of that. Affection. It's all different. Hand gestures, size, every little nuance of communication. You learn from your environment from the second you're birthed into this world. And if you want me to get super nerdy on you, I even believe in utero stuff because you're, as a fetus, you're sharing hormones with your mom. So if mom and dad are getting at it all the time, guess who's also sharing in those stress hormones and picking up on that stimulus still? You are.
Right.
And so it's like, it impacts you on a nervous system level, which is why I preach emotional regulation like a crazy person, because it is the secret sauce to everything in life.
Yeah.
If you cannot control and help your nervous system flip into states, you're going to get into this, where it very much is rigid. It's like, it's my way or the highway, because Jasmina feels that she knows how to communicate. She feels that she knows how to have a conversation and that Michael does not.
Right.
And because of that dynamic, they will always have this until she can humble herself to either find growth and I would say and would be the best case here, explain to Michael what she needs from him to feel that it is just a conversation.
Right, exactly.
Because holy cow, Batman, that was hard for me to watch because I feel so bad for Michael.
Yeah,
he's like trying desperately to understand her and she's like stuck in her own way. Not because she's malicious.
No, not at all.
I want to be clear here. Not because she's trying to be malicious about it, because she doesn't know what she doesn't know.
Exactly. I'm really glad that you mentioned that because this happens a lot. We tend to assume, I forget what the term is, but basically it's like when you have your own set of lived experiences, your assumption is that everyone grew up in the same household, in the same environment, with the same skills and has the same, quote, basic knowledge that you do. And I cannot tell you how ignorant that is. It's literally ignorant. Because the thing is like you said, like if you grow up in a different household, there's very different verbal and nonverbal cues that inform you of how you navigate and understand and experience the world. And so to sit there and be like, it's just a conversation, what she's saying is, I know how to have a conversation. this is the way that everyone does this. Why don't you know how to do that? And that is condescending as fuck.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. Yeah. So, that was hard to watch. I want to just say something really positive.
Okay, cool.
Because we just like dug into some really hard truth. I love that her pup's name is Mr. Feeney and that Michael made an adorable Dog Meets World with the Boy Meets World logo on it. I thought that was the cutest thing.
That was really cute. That's really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So gold star for Michael. And then they have their champagne talk in the, how have you been in love? How did you know you were in love? And, I loved Mike's response. If I was Jasmina, I would want to know why it didn't work out, because he said like, they really understood each other. They knew each other's past. They knew each other's triggers. And like, it was really, like you said, they just really understood each other. Yeah. And so, to me, that's so valuable for a relationship, is being able to understand where your partner, the inner world of your partner, how they think, how they perceive things, because it allows you to, one, it equips you with tools to be able to communicate, but also kind of, again, understand where they're coming from, express more empathy, and give them the benefit of the doubt, because now you kind of get their lens in which they view certain things, right?
Yeah, right.
So anyway, I loved that, and I'm just so curious about why that didn't work out. And then Mike expressed, like, I really need to be able to be comfortable and vulnerable with someone for me to feel love, which then we see Jasmina gets there with him. And that was a beautiful moment to watch.
Yeah. I appreciated what she did. She created like a Jasmina's gym where she sort of flipped the roles, and she's like she's like fun. Personal training Mike, who is a professional personal trainer. And that was cute. I know that these two are very good at using humor to lift them out of intense spaces.
Right.
I hope that they continue to use that as a tool, an intentional tool, that's what this was, instead of an avoidance tool.
Right. Exactly.
They're two very good examples of that. So like when we saw them at their like, hosting friends over, and they're doing like a Taco Tuesday or whatever, their humor, their banter back and forth felt more of like, we need to do this to like get through this moment because we're really not happy with each other and we're really not on the same page. And it didn't lend to any more serious conversations. And we could see that even after that, there were no more serious conversations until Mike created the picnic with the dog and then was like, how do I get to you?
Right.
But that is very different. Using humor that way to basically just like dance around each other is very different than what Jasmina does is after a difficult conversation in the park where she's like, we're going to do this exercise. It's going to be funny. I'm your personal trainer. I have no idea what I'm doing. And you're going to laugh at me. And we're going to basically get to a place where we're like, we've loosened up enough so that I can ask you a serious question, because there's clearly a like that she finally clicked in. There's more that I need to know here. He's saying, vulnerability is something he promised to himself on day one, but I'm not seeing that. Yeah, no shit. One, that's hard to do for someone who hasn't practiced being vulnerable for many, many years. That's going to be hard to just switch that flip. But also, what role do you have as his partner that makes it very challenging for him to step into a vulnerable space? Exactly.
Yeah, he needs to feel
again, we
safe.
can't just sit here and be like, and to be honest, like all she's been giving is guards, like a big fat brick wall. So for
Hulk
him,
smash that baby.
Exactly. So she and really she's the only one that has the power to do that, because we've seen the ways in which Michael has tried, and she continues to lock up because she continues to feel misunderstood. Yeah. So she's like, tell me about your earlier experiences with grief. He has an emotional expression about what this whole thing made me cry. This whole thing sent me into a cathartic cry. He's talking about his brother, and he's talking about how like every couple of years after that, it was just more grief, more loss, which led to more grief. So really what we're looking at and we're understanding is an individual who has suffered so much continuous loss that he can't actually catch his breath. So the only way, as a young person, a child who then becomes a young adult, the only way that he knows how to deal with his emotions is to compartmentalize them. And I imagine really like putting them away. He says he put them away in a box. And so he's basically like, I'm turning it off. And I'm just moving through with the more like
getting on with life.
Yeah, I'm working with my facilities instead of checking in with how I'm feeling emotionally. I'm not being driven by my emotions, and therefore that makes it really connect with people as you try to build relationships. So,
yeah.
Fucking thank you for like finally creating an opportunity for him to feel safe enough to do this. It is not necessarily
Absolutely.
Michael's task to be like, okay, we got married, time to sit down and I'm going to trauma dump on you. No, you need to make him feel safe enough to say that, like, to give him space for him to open up some really painful shit that has quite literally been locked in a box and allow him to emote. I want to give her credit for this. I did appreciate how she comforted him. She gave him space, but she physically came closer. She's got physical contact. She's touching his leg. And now if you're going to try to console your partner while they are clearly getting vulnerable and they're emotional, you will know based on their response if physical touch is something that is okay or not okay in that moment. So when she touches his leg and he stays right where he is, that's a green light when we're talking about consoling. Wiping his tears and him just fully allowing it, that's a green light, but you really want to pay attention to how your partner is responding so that you're not forcing something that you think will be comforting, but actually may be triggering.
Yeah, because people handle that differently. Some people seek isolation to process and space.
Or just don't want to be touched. Let me get this out, don't touch me.
Yeah. And I think, like, I completely agree with you. It was a beautiful moment to finally see these two kind of melt the ice cube of like, okay, let's just get to know the human in the room with me. I'm so proud of him. I'm really proud of her for, like you said, creating the environment for him to feel comfortable doing that. And so there's definitely so much potential for these two. From the beginning, we've been saying that they've been one of our favorites. There's a lot of potential here. There's just growth needed on both ends. And specifically with Jasmina's communication, she really needs to be open to approaching communication in a different way. Yeah. That's what's needed here. So, crossing my fingers for these guys.
There's blockage and they need to continue to work through it. Yeah. You have anything else on them?
No, I just hope they figure it out because I like them.
Me too. I think that if they get through their stuff, they could be really great together.
Yeah. A lot of couples fall apart because they can't get through their shit. And it's really sad because, it's this concept of like, we have this idea, and I know I talk about this a lot, of like soulmate or the one, and I don't think that's true. Like I will own that. I think that we can be compatible with many people on this planet. However, I think we do miss out, or we could miss out on a lot of potentially amazing and fulfilling relationships if we aren't in a space to be open, to grow, and to kind of let go of our ego of how we think it should be.
Yeah.
And so that will be their downfall. And that's why I wanted to bring that up, is if they can't let go of their shoulds, or like, this is how it should be, this is how you should communicate, then they will fall apart. But if they can let that go, they'll be able to meet in the middle and they would have a beautiful relationship. Yeah. So, yeah. Mark and Lynn's.
Sort of a dumpster fire of a couple in this episode.
Seriously, they're very manic.
That's a really good way to describe them, actually. So I think my biggest takeaway from Mark and Lindsay's continuous conflict is that Lindsay has, as we've mentioned many, many, many times, she has a lot of wounds. And therefore, she has grown very skilled in defending herself. And she, not unlike many of us, probably all of us, find it very hard to see things from someone else's perspective. Like,
yes,
I think a big thing that I'm taking away is like Mark and Lindsay are trying to sort of like express from each person's perspective, why was what happened at the bowling alley a problem for me? You know, Mark's like, I don't like the way that you express yourself in situations like this because I find it to be rude, in not so many words. And Lindsay's like, you keep criticizing me. You know, you continue to like tell me that I'm not this and I'm not that and I'm too this and I'm too that. And she's not, neither of them are ever really hearing what the other person is actually saying. And I noticed that that's consistent in the emotionally escalated conversations that they have, the conflict that they have, and the slowed down ones. Neither of them are hearing each other. They're fully just assigning new words, new phrases, new statements onto their already gridlocked positions.
Right. Their egos get in the way of actually hearing. And this is what's fascinating to me in this dynamic is like, Mark brings up a complaint, Lindsay defends herself, right? Then Mark defends himself, and then it's just this teeter-totter of like, me. When really what's beautiful, and we saw this with Katina, is partner brings up a complaint, other partner says, okay, what I'm hearing is this, and you need this. Is that right? Yes. Yeah. And then you get to role reverse, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. I will work on this, this, and this. Do you like my little bunny finger?
Yeah, I really. I'm the child. My inner child is like, I'm like learning from teacher.
So I used to teach out of elementary school. This is why I do this stuff. La-da-da-da-da. And then partner B gets to say, okay, well, what I need for this relationship to work is blah, 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 blah. And then partner A says, okay, so what I'm hearing is this, and I'll work on this. Yeah. And that's healthy conflict resolution. 101, that's all it baby. Is.
Honestly, y'all just got this shit for free. For free. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So my point in bringing that up, or like trying to illustrate that, is because the issue with Mark and Lindsay is neither of them are paraphrasing or taking the time to actually admit what the other person needs. And so it's just constant like egos talking to egos instead of, okay, let me take for me, I call this healthy detachment. Like, let me take my wifey hat off and just listen to you like I'm your friend so I can hear what you're trying to say. This is a tactic I have to use. Yeah. It's challenging, but when you get there, it's really helpful because you're less emotionally reactive or invested in the outcome of the conversation.
Right. Oh, and so the friend lens allows you to... For me. Sort of like if you were imagining if I called you up and I was talking about conflict, like you're gonna hear me through this perspective of like, I love this person, I support this person, but I also want to make sure I'm holding them accountable, type of a thing.
Right. And so same thing. Yeah. So say if you can get to a place to do that with your partner, it's helpful because you're like, okay, I'm not emotionally charged because I'm not trying to defend me, the girlfriend in this or the wife in this dynamic. Right.
Hearing
and so
it
allows. Right. It allows for that active listening to truly in my opinion. This is just a thing that, and I teach my couples this and it seems to work. So I guess I got something up my sleeve.
No, I think that that's really useful because the thing that is so repetitive in our modern day relationships, in all of our relationships past, we see it modeled on television, we see it modeled in movies, is that's what you're talking about. It's like, someone is upset about something, the other person's defending themselves. And that's how you end up kitchen sinking. That's how you end up fighting about a whole mess of things. Everything that's because all we're doing is defending our own position, our ego. Right. Your ego is a major fucking cock block.
Seriously. Oh my God. So true. Get rid of the ego cock block.
Yeah. Tell it to calm down. Like put a pin in it. Allow yourself to like notice, okay, I'm feeling defensive. This happens in conflict and like friendships as well. It's like if
Yeah.
we, but if we're not ever actually hearing each other about what the issue is, you can guarantee that this relationship is not going to repair itself.
Right. Exactly. So being able to detach from the outcome and just hear what's going on and then take the second to be like, okay, cool. So this is what you need from me. Am I right? Okay. Heard. Now is now a good time for me to share a few things that I would like to see improve in this relationship as well. Cool. It would be boom, boom, boom. Is that realistic for you? Okay. Yeah, I can do this and that. When it comes to this, can we compromise? Like, let's brainstorm together. Like, that is what this takes. And so since Mark and Lindsay are on the crazy merry-go-round of fighting chaos, in order to get off of it, one of them has to take a timeout on defending their case.
Yeah.
And it's just a total ego thing, because the ego is what causes us to defend ourselves. It's like, I need to protect. And it's like, bro, I'm not a saber-toothed tiger coming after you. I'm just trying to communicate what my needs are.
Yeah. We are so afraid of having people
Conflict.
share with us something that we've done that's upset with. Yeah. We're so afraid of it. And I blame our parents for those of us who did not have that modeled for us, that like the idea of someone criticizing you and holding up a mirror of a reflection to say, like, you're not actually perfect all of the time. And these are some things that actually hurt me. And obviously you don't say it that way. It's like, this is something that hurt me, but it's like our ego is like, but I work so hard to try to be amazing and perfect. And I already don't feel amazing and perfect. I'm already tearing myself down all of the time. You confirming that for me is too scary.
Right. And so we need to be really good. And this is something that I've had to work on, and I'm still working on mastering it. Although recently it's been better. Which I'm really proud of myself. Like, I'm going to just take a second and be like, but when it comes to hearing feedback, it does not devalue you. It does not mean you're not a good person. It doesn't mean that you're not worthy of love or the relationship you're in. It's just feedback. Feedback is neutral. It's up to you and how you handle it that matters. Because let me tell you, every single person on this planet has their own set of red flags. So it's not like you're ever going to be a full all green flag type person. That's unrealistic. Perfection doesn't exist. So be kind to yourself and know that feedback doesn't mean that you're an awful person or you don't deserve to be in a relationship or anything like that. Because for me, that's exactly what you were saying. Like, it hurt so bad. And really what that was poking at my childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's really all that was. And so healing those wounds and really stepping into a place of like, I am worthy, but me being worthy doesn't mean I'm perfect. Right.
Yeah.
Those are two different things.
Should we tattoo it?
Let's tattoo it, bitch. I'm going back of calf this time.
We got to make space. If you haven't been listening to us, we have this fantasy of just tattooing affirmations all over our body. Just to really like drive home the point. And that's going to be one of them. Like, that's it.
Yeah. Worthy doesn't mean I'm perfect.
Thank you. I forgot it for a second.
I got you. Okay. So moving on with Mark and Lynn's.
Oh God, I forgot.
You know, because we had such good other talking points. So Mark keeps saying, like, I feel we need to communicate better. I really agree, and I really wish Mark could communicate more clearly. I think he still really struggles to, like, say what he means.
And Lindsay
so
intimidates
personally,
him.
And I get that. I so get that. I find personally, when I listen to Mark, I don't believe what he's saying. And here's why.
Even though you're trying to understand him.
Yeah. I feel that Mark just isn't into her. Like, I think that there's some serious compatibility issues for him. And I think he's too scared to fully admit that. And that's why this weird push-pull dynamic with him is happening so often. Is because he wants it to work, because he he committed to the show and committed to the process and trusts the experts. So he's really trying to like figure out a way to make it work. But I think that he has too many value differences with Lindsay to truly fully invest to the process. And so when I hear him communicate, I think and this is a big assumption on my end, which is why I want to say my opinion. And this is how I feel when I watch him. Like, I am owning this. This is not an objective lens. Please hear me when I say that. I feel that the reason he struggles to communicate clearly is because he's too scared to actually say what he truly is feeling.
Yeah. I think that you're likely pretty right on that. I would put money on it, and we'll see how the rest of the season goes.
Put money on it in Vegas, baby.
That's a perfect opportunity. I think that this is what happens when people love bomb. And I want to go back a bit to the beginning of Mark and Lindsay's relationship. Mark is so jacked up about getting married. He's like full faith in the experts. He's like, this is the one. I can't wait. I can't wait to meet my wife. And Lindsay shows up exactly at who she is, but she does a lot of the love bombing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So she's like, I think that I love him. Mark and I are such a good pair. We are already off to such a good start, and we are just so in line. And I'm so glad. I'm so lucky. And I want to name that, like, it's okay to be excited about someone new that you're seeing and to find good qualities in your dynamic so far, but to be careful about putting too much promise in those expressions to yourself and to your partner. Because what happened here with them is that she's telling Mark, I love you, big guy. You're the best. We are such a good pair, and ride or die forever, right? And then what happens is Mark's now realizing these value differences, as you've mentioned, and he's noticing, oh no, I don't feel the same way anymore. And to be fair, Lindsay doesn't feel the same way either. But having to go backwards instead of building your relationship up from just starting to get to know each other, this is the consequence. When you do too much too soon, too much love too soon. It's unintentional love bombing, but it's love bombing.
Yeah. And I think that can happen quite a bit. Same thing with both Lindsay and O, they got married and they bought into the relationship super duper duper fast.
Yeah.
And I think that, because I feel that, like you said, unintentional love bombing versus intentional love bombing is way predatory. Yeah. With a hidden agenda in mind. I don't think either of them were that. I think they were just so on this crazy adrenaline rush and oxytocin rush of like, oh my God, my person, yay, we get to make out and all of that and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's where that was coming from. But maintaining your sense of self and pacing yourself, like, Steve we saw that a lot in Steve with he was very intentional and almost methodical about how he went about this development with Noi, and it served him. Like, look at where he's got in a place where he's comfortable being now. Right. And so, and also let me hit home here with Lindsay. It's really because of her abandonment wounds, having this in-out dynamic is triggering as fuck for her, because she needs someone to be consistently there and reassure her so that she feels safe and secure. Yeah. And I get that. I so understand that. And since Mark isn't in a place where he's fully bought in, and not truly fully committed because he still has his concerns, she is picking up on that energy. It doesn't need to be verbalized, but she is constantly picking up on that energy. And that's what has her in this teeter-totter manic craze, So, woo, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's part of their shit right now. That's the poison within their relationship, within their dynamic at the moment.
Yep, agreed. So they have their talk around, have you been in love? And if so, what do you need to fall in love? And so, she says she's had different versions of love. And I really, of all the couples, Mark is the only one that I recall asking a follow-up question. where he was like, have you ever been with someone that you thought it would actually work out with, like that you'd marry? And yeah. And she was like, yeah, the guy I moved to New York for. And, you know, and she, in a very calm way, like expressed like that was a great relationship until it wasn't, you know, and things changed. And so, then she opens, like, she needs consistency. She needs to see that they care. And this is what I was trying to hit home on, that someone doesn't withdraw or abandon from conflict. She needs to know that he is in this with her in order to get to that place. And I'm really glad she's aware of that within herself. And then Mark's answers were a little bit less in depth. And I feel like that's just because he has some awareness. Like, he needs to still learn about himself, and that's totally fine. That's not a diss at Mark. It's just, that's where he is right now, you know, and that's okay. Yeah. But he was saying, you know, like, yes, he's been in love, and he needs time to fall in love, which is understandable, you know, but that was really all we got from him. So I don't know if that was an editing situation, or if that's just Mark isn't a man of a lot of words, which I feel like we do see in his communication style as well.
Yeah,
so,
I was going to say that seems sort of on par with other
who he
areas
is.
Of him trying to express himself.
Totally. What else you got to say about these two?
Absolutely nothing. I'm ready for a red flag and green flag, though.
Okay, you go first. Red flag.
Okay, my red flag is Lindsay shutting down and not listening. And honestly, I'm going to give it to the both of them. Although I see Mark trying to do it later in their conversation. But as you mentioned with the bunnies, when the fact that the two of them are not able to listen to what the other person is highlighting and like asking more or less of in the relationship, and only, you know, your first response is to protect yourself, defend your ego, that is going to continue to interrupt your like all growth in a relationship. Yeah. Every time.
My red flag will be with Olajuwon. Just again, like, he needs to be a team player. It's been all about what Katina needs to fix, and I haven't heard him consistently focus on what he wants to fix or improve on to help her get to where she wants to be in this relationship too. So that's where my red flag's at.
Start with the way that he supports her.
Yeah, exactly. And validates her and is like, and appreciates her, you know. It's like, come on, you need to meet her there. And by the way, like, there's no better way to help your partner meet the goals that you have for them, you know, the growth that you would like for them. So in this case, her cooking, you got to have the positive reinforcement. You know, where is that? Like, there's a reason we train dogs with treats when they do what we want them to do. It is good feedback, right? It feels good to feel loved and valued and appreciated. And
to
so
be fed.
I haven't seen... Yeah, and to be fed. So it's like, it would be really nice to kind of see him be more compassionate and appreciative for the things that she is trying and the effort that she's putting in. So yeah, check yourself, homie.
Check yourself. Okay, my
green flag.
Green flag is Jasmina opening up the conversation to to invite Michael to share more on his grief. And I want to say specifically that this is a green flag because she created a safe space for him to do so. She's not demanding that he open up his trauma. She's creating a safe space and saying, you know, you've mentioned that you want to work on vulnerability. Let me help you get there, which is exactly what he was looking for. He didn't know that he really needed that until he said, like, I need to feel safe with someone. And she didn't know that she needed to do that until she put two and two together, that's a role that she needs to take on in the moment. And I also find it to be a very green flag moment that she sort of gave him nonverbal cues that she's supporting him, that it's okay that he continues to talk, that he continues to feel, that he continues to have an emotional response, and that she can handle it. That was big.
Yeah. I completely agree. I had 2 ideas for green flags, and that was one of them. So now I'm going to say my other one.
Okay.
Which is Katina paraphrasing and wrapping up, what, and being able to articulate what she knows Alonjuan wants to see moving forward in their relationship. Again, such an invaluable skill, like so great for her to be able to, again, show that she's listening, show that she's understanding him, and that she is committed to putting in the effort to meet him where he'd like to be met. So good job, Katina. Get it, girl.
You know what my other green
Snaps
flag
for
is?
Katina.
Snaps for Katina.
What?
My other green flag is that you and I had the exact same 2 green flag options.
Yeah, well, great minds think alike, bitch.
Yeah, we are simpatico. We're so excited to be together.
I know. I'm so excited.
We're going to virtually take you on a ride. We're not going to vlog because I'm not about that life. And we're going to have some good quality time spent off of our phones. But we are going to give you some OOTDs and some hugs, some live video hugs. That'll be really nice.
So y'all stay tuned to the Ditch the Script pod gram and TikTok for show. And if you aren't following us there, please do so. And also, hey, we do listener questions. Like, you listening to this podcast could go to our website, ditchthescriptpod.com, and submit a question. We will answer it anonymously and shoot you an email when we publish it. So be real with us, because we want to help you solve your real life problems, just like we're helping these reality TV folks through theirs.
Through theirs, after the fact, well after the fact.
Yeah, well after the fact.
Like maybe you heard this and you were like, active listening. How do I invite my partner to do more of that? Because I feel that we are constantly on the defense. Is that something that shows up in your relationship a lot? Ask us and we will, or give us a little bit more detail. We'll answer anonymously. And then you can take that with you in your relationship for free.
Yes, word. And then if you like our show, screenshot it, tag us on the gram, let us know you're listening. We love to see it. And then leave a rating and a review, because that helps us grow. And we like kind words.
We do like kind words.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, bitch. That's crazy.
All right. Yes. See you soon. Okay, bye, guys.
Bye.